already have just PBIS rewards on your screen, we know. No shopping going on at Amazon.com. We know that you've already silenced all of your other devices. You've gathered all your materials. You're ready to share the air and put any relevant information into the chat. We want to encourage you to be engaged throughout today's learning session. So feel free to, type things in that chat box. Feel free to use the reaction buttons to show us how you're feeling and what you're thinking. And please do not be afraid to ask questions. We are here to answer them and to help. And like we said before, whether you call it the parking lot, the discussion board, or the Zoom chat, if you've got questions, concerns, or wonderings, feel free to park them in the Zoom chat today. Kara, myself, and Anna, all three of us will be doing our best to answer any questions that you might have. So feel free to put any of those questions in the chat box throughout today's session. And we do want to just kind of give you an overview of what today's training is about. As Anna said, we have a little bit of time and a whole lot of good information. What we like to focus on today is really how can PBIS Rewards help you as you are teaching in a virtual learning environment. We're going to look at acknowledging students virtually. We're going to look at virtual incentives that motivate your students. We're going to look at how you can also redeem points with meaning in that virtual learning setting. And then also talk a little bit about virtual SEL check-ins. We have a lot of people interested in that, we hear. And then of course, we have some reflection and a wrap up. So here we go. We know that if you are right now teaching in an entirely virtual setting, we know that the struggle is real. And in fact, one way that we know is we saw this video a few weeks ago and we just said, boy, this is a great example of how real the struggle is. Let's take a look at this video clip.
Who was that? Ishan. Yep, ×2. So we do the same thing here. Great. So we know how to multiply fractions. 2 over 3 times 2 is the same thing as times 2 over 1. What do we get? Somebody else? Hands up. Or just unmute yourself.
1 1/3.
Oh yeah, yes, 4 over 3, which is the same thing as 1 1/3. Sticker, okay. She went right to the mixed number. Great job.
Keep it up.
Yes, keep it up. All right, so.
I love that Jamie Ann put in the chat, I just saw this on Facebook yesterday, the things we do for our kids. Absolutely. As we said, we know that the struggle is real. And we know if we've got to make it a dog and pony show, and every time they give a correct answer, we're putting a sticker on our face to keep them engaged and excited about learning in a virtual environment, we're going to do it. And so what we want to do today is just kind of share with you how PBIS Rewards can really help with your struggle, how it can really help you be able to just kind of make the struggle not so hard when it comes to teaching in a virtual learning environment. So the first thing we really want to focus on is how you can use PBIS Rewards to reward your students. So a big question we often have from people, they ask us, okay, I know what to, acknowledge my students for or give points for when I'm in the brick and mortar setting. They're walking in a straight line, they're getting along with their friends, they're doing all the things that they should do. I see that. But what should I be rewarding them for in a virtual learning environment? Well, this is just a short list of some things that have been shared with us and that we'd like to share with you. And we'd also like to highlight a few of our favorite behaviors that you could award and acknowledge your students for with points. Some of those include completing classroom jobs. And in fact, we're going to share with you a resource link, a bit.ly or bit.ly, that will have this PowerPoint for you, so you don't have to worry about clipping and taking pictures and all that stuff and notes. But another thing we have on that resource list is also some classroom jobs that you could use in a virtual learning setting. It's a slide that you can actually edit. You could add your students' names to it and which job you'd like them to do. It has the job descriptions right there. And then when they are responsible and do their job, you can give them points for that. You should definitely give points to your students when they show up on time for learning. You can also give them points when they are participating in online discussions and when they're completing and submitting their digital learning activities. And one of our personal favorites, in fact, we got one of these going on this week right now in our office, is when, the students participate in Spirit Day activities. Yes, for today, ladies, today was we had to be lit, we had to have lights. So you had to take yourself with lights on you or in your workspace or whatever. So we definitely want to encourage you to do different things to really keep acknowledging your students with points in that virtual learning setting. Another idea is that you can create a rewarding event that when they actually participate in the event, it doesn't cost them points. They earn points by participating in it. So these are just a few ideas we hope that would be helpful for you in a virtual learning environment. And so now we're going to show a little video to show how you can actually give students points with the PBIS Rewards staff app, okay? So you choose the app, you're going to then choose the point and the expectation. You can include a comment by clicking include comment and typing in whatever you want to say. And then if you'd like to, you can actually search for the student by typing in the search area and choosing the correct student. You could also scan the student's badge. So you could click scan to reward and then scan the badge. This works great in the brick and mortar. But you also can print off a PDF from the web portal and you can scan that PDF that's from an entire group or class of yours. And if you scan that QR code right there in the upper left, it actually can give points to the entire group of students. And we will show you in a little bit when Anna goes into the system of where you can access that you can print off. And it's really handy because you can have it right there beside you while you're teaching, have maybe your smart device with you. And as the students are doing things, you don't have to put stickers on your face if you don't want to. You can just give them points by scanning the actual PDF. So Anna will show you where you can get that in a little bit. Now you can also give your students points with the PBIS Rewards staff web portal. And there's 5 easy steps to do that. You basically will log into PBIS Rewards, the staff portal, and then you will click on reward on the main menu. You then can search the student's name in the search area, select the correct student. Then you can decide where you want the points to be associated as far as the expectation, include a comment if you want, and simply click reward. It's that easy to give points within the system with the web portal. And another thing we always like to say is if you want to utilize PBIS Rewards, if you want to stay in the loop, stay in the groups. And Anna's going to show you a little bit later exactly what we mean by that. But pretty much anything that you want to do in PBIS Rewards as far as the system, you can do it from the groups page. There's a lot of features within the groups page. The way that you select your group or your class that you want to work with, you're going to go to the main menu and click on groups. Once you're there, there's a whole lot of things you can do with that group. You can give some of the students or all of the students points. You can use toggle presence to make sure that you can show which students are not within the group, who are absent. You can also use the random button to be able to, in a fair and equitable way, that's so important to be able to choose who's going to win something, who's going to go down to the office for you, or to even select students to be in a group together. And you can use the menu, which we personally like to call the redeeming menu, but you can use the menu button to be able to allow the students to redeem their points. And Anna's going to show you all of this live in the system. Now, someone asked the question earlier in the chat about where do I get that PDF that we were talking about that I can, use the app and scan the QR codes. We're going to quickly go over it and then Anna's going to show you in the system, okay? But once again, like we said, you navigate to groups, choose the group or class you're working with. And once you get there, you're going to click on settings. Then it's going to give you an option of how you want the PDF to look, how many rows, etc. And then you can, if you like, print off that PDF. And here's all the students, their names, their QR code. And then that one in the left is if you want to give points for the whole group. With just one click. It's that easy. Now we wanted to show you that you can also do some of those same features within groups on the app. So you would navigate to the PBIS Rewards staff app, click on groups, choose the group you want to do. You can give points. You can include comments, whatever you'd like to say. And then you can give points to one student, several students, or the entire group. It's that simple. You can also, like we said, if you want to do all the students, you just click on that select all button. Points were awarded, that easy. You can also use the random button. You would click on select all students, click the random button, and there's your first winner or the person that's the first person in the group. You can hit random again. There's your second person in your group. Hit it again. There's your third person.
Yeah, I
Hit it
haven't
again,
made
there's
it.
your fourth person. And that's your entire group right there. They're selected in a very equitable way, right? So those are just a few of the features that you can do with groups on the PBIS Rewards staff app.
So before we get into the actual system, we are going to talk a little bit about our social emotional check. Sometimes we call this SEL. There's lots of different curriculums out there for social emotional needs for students, whether you're working with pre-K students or all the way up through high school students. The great thing about this is there are a variety of ways to customize this in our system. So we are going to walk you through that today. With the SEL check, you can check a student in, and right now our system allows teachers to check in students, whether they are working virtually or they're working in a face-to-face setting, to check that student in. When you search for a student, right on the very first page of PBIS Rewards, it will bring up the student's last SEL check. So you can see for this student here, for Maria, her last SEL check was anger. So we can look at her historical information, or we can check her in right there on that very first page. So that is a great advantage to be able to do this here in the web portal. You can do this also on your cell phone through the staff app. This can also be done in the groups page. If you notice, there was an icon there that has a heart with a check in it, because we're checking on our students' hearts with our social emotional check. So once you select that icon and select the students, you can complete an SEL check for them and select which of those statuses you would like to have for that student. Now, again, all of these things can be customized. If you want to add more to this, it allows up to 5, because we know, especially as our students get older, they have a wider range of emotions that they are experiencing and expressing. So with those, they can all be customized, like we said, and that SEL guide on the right-hand side really allows for you to maintain consistency across your school and your campus, so that if you check a student in as stressed, another teacher is using that same guide and that same information. And with our SEL check, like we said, you can color code things. If you need to do that, you're welcome to use the emojis that we offer there, or you can just have it a colored dot, changing those risk levels. And then also, what are the visible emotions that staff is looking for? And then the look fors and listen fors. At this time right now, we just have the ability for teachers to be able to check students in, but we are diligently working on an update that will allow students to do a check-in. So that is part of what's in the works right now, and we know that that's something that a lot of people are really looking forward to. This also is only visible to staff members at school. This is not visible to parents, because we didn't want anything to be contentious between some things that happen at home and some things that happen at school. So right now, this is just visible to staff members. Our SEL check also allows you to review data and reports. As teachers are putting in those different status updates, our system is collecting that for you. And you can go in and look at each student individually, and you can see how they are progressing as far as those social emotional checks. And that allows you to really plan for interventions and really work together with those staff members that see that student to really help them be successful at school. So because you are attending this today too, we want to pull the curtain back a little bit and show you what is coming for the student check. Like we said, it is coming soon. And on the student app, this is what we are hoping it'll look close to. It may not be exactly like this, but this is kind of what we are planning, that a student would be able to select that heart with the check in it. They're on the very far left. And then it would give them the option of the different emotions that they can select. How are they feeling? So once they select those, it will give them a confirmation screen that they can confirm, or they can go back and make a change. And then they can see their status history, what they have put in for their social emotional checks. Now, a staff member can see the student side and the teacher side. So you have all the information that you need. But this information on the student side is just visible for them, that they only see what they put in. We're also working on a way for students, when they put in a high risk emotion that's here, that it will notify whoever you determine on your school campus. It needs to be recognized and notified about that, so that that student can be seen, and so that those students don't fall between the cracks. So that is definitely a huge part of it as well. All right, so I am going to get into the actual system and show you a little bit about groups and SEL in the system. Kara or Indy, are there any questions that we need to answer, or y'all took care of them?
Well, there's one that's definitely out there. Someone asked about, will they receive a recording of today's session? And we do want to let you know that you will receive a recording. As we mentioned, that bit.ly resource that we will be giving you access to even before this session ends. We will be putting a Zoom link in there so you can immediately see the recording. But we also will have another recording that will probably be emailed to you that will even have closed captioning capabilities that you don't have to figure out on your own. So yes, you will definitely have a recording coming.
Okay, great. All right, so when you open up the web portal for staff members and PBIS Rewards, you can reward students right here on this very first page. That's what Indy was talking about. And as you start to enter a name, the system is going to try to bring up a student for you. So if I bring up this student, Blake, you can see it tells me what Blake's balance is as far as points goes, but also what their last SEL check is. So I can click on that, and it'll tell me the last SEL check, and I could check Blake in now by selecting this button. And maybe now Blake is stressed because Blake missed the bus and was late to school. And so that comment, of course, is optional, but then the system is going to save that comment, and the next teacher that sees this update will be able to view that information as well. So I will click submit here. Right before I click that, I just want to show you really quickly, this is that SEL guide that your school can customize to your exact needs, but you can see all of this information about visible emotion and the look and the listen fors. All of those things can be personalized to exactly what your needs are. So maintaining that consistency. So I'll go ahead and click submit and say yes. And so now that's been updated for Blake. So of course I could also give points here on this page for Blake for responsibility, nice and easy. But really where we like to spend most of our time is in the groups page. So here in groups, the groups that will be listed for you are going to be those, if you're synced with us through ClassLink and Clever, those will be visible. And you can also create groups right here with this plus sign. Let's say if you're going to meet with the before or after school group, you could create that. So I'm going to go into one of my groups here. So some of the basic functions, our favorite things here are that we can select all of our students and give them points very quickly and easily, all at one time. Then you can see the number in the top left corner is going to change. We call that their points backpack. So especially if you're working virtually, that backpack of points will go with them wherever they go, to whatever teacher. So Casey will take those 129 points wherever she goes. So that toggle presence is another one. I can select a student and I can click toggle presence. You can see it's grayed out. So when I select all my students to give them points, if I decide to do that again, Blake will not receive points because Blake is not here, but I can always click that again and have Blake return to class. Some of the other things that we really like are the SEL check. Again, can be done right here in class. If I select a student and go to SEL check, I can view their status or I can submit an SEL check. So just like we saw on that front page, we can also do that here in the groups and submit that for a student. And this can also be done for multiple students. If you have a couple of students that are doing great, you can select multiples and you can do that SEL check for them as well. So that's a nice option that's here. So you can also choose random if you want a student, like India said, if you want to choose a winner for something in your class, or if you have a student that you are trying to decide who's going to go first with something, you can always select all your students and click random, and then the system will pick a student at random. And if I wanted to keep going and maybe I wanted to pick partners, you can see it will remember Blake was last and Morgan is next. So this is a great option too when you're working virtually, that you can pick those students and you can continue to go back to that random button and have it pick students for you. So that's really nice. One of the biggest things when you're working with students virtually, we've always liked this option of coming down here to group print. And this is what India was showing you today. That printout with the QR codes, and I'm going to select how I would like to view them. So once I have that here on my computer, then I can easily scan that with my cell phone, and then I don't have to have something else on my computer screen. You know, if you're running Zoom, you have lots of things going on. This can sit right on your desk. You can use your cell phone. You can scan away, giving those points. And again, this QR code at the top, if you scan that one, that gives points to everybody in your class all at one time. So that is a huge time saver for so many people. And then our last thing, we'll come back to that a little bit, is this redeem menu. So when you are working with your students redeeming those points in the stores, whether you're using your school store or your own individual teacher store, events or raffles, all of those things can be accessed right here on the groups page. So when in doubt, go to the groups page. It's going to be your best friend as far as day-to-day life with PBIS Rewards. All right, we're going to switch back over and move on to talk about redeem. All right, Indy, you want to share a little bit about redeem next?
Absolutely. You know, when you think about the PBIS Rewards system and what can it help you do in a virtual learning environment, three big things. Redeeming is one of them, but rewarding, redeeming, and reports. So let's look at the different ways that you can redeem within the system. So first of all, you know, redeeming virtually. What are some of the items that people may be interested in and able to use their points for, you know? But we have a fantastic list, so you do not have to think too hard about it. We do have a link to this distance learning list of great incentives that we can put in the chat, but it's actually also on your Bitly. But it's just fantastic. It really takes the hard guesswork out for you. It gives you a lot of events that we've seen that work, a lot of different things that seem to work. And I tell you, it's just fantastic. So please definitely make sure it's something you check out on that Bitly resource link. Also have an ultimate list of PBIS incentives. Ladies, how many things do you think we have on that now? Hundreds, would you say?
Oh, yeah, hundreds.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and it's sorted. So please make sure that you check that out as well. The link to that will be on the Bitly as well. So just check those out. Don't make things hard for yourself. As we said earlier, the struggle is real. It's already hard. Let us do some hard things for you, including giving you a list of great incentives that you can use in a virtual learning setting. All right, so as we said, redeeming is a huge part of the system that can help you while you are teaching in a virtual learning environment. And those three ways that you can redeem within the system include stores, events, and raffles.
India, I just want to interrupt you for 1 second while you take a breath. I'm getting a lot of private messages asking about the recording and the resources. And I just want to assure everybody again that you will get everything that we're showing you today. You'll get the PowerPoint, some of these resources that the girls have created. We're going to send all of it to you. As we get closer to the end, we'll give you what we call a bit.ly, which is just a short link that you'll be able to click on. It will take you to a page that we've listed everything on there for you. Plus, we are recording this session. You can see it on the top of your screen that is in record mode. We will take that once it downloads from the cloud. We'll put it directly on that bit.ly link for you. Just in case for some reason you wrote it down or you forgot it or you don't have it, we're going to follow up with you at the end of the week with an email, and we will send you the recording, and we will send you all the resources again. So for those of you that are worried that you're not going to get it, I promise you we will get you the information. If you've signed up to be on this, we have your email and we will give you those resources. So don't worry about it if you've missed something, if we've gone too fast or we've flipped screens too quickly, we will get everything to you. Okay, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to make sure I'm getting a lot of questions about that.
Please do not apologize for that, because that is definitely something we can't say enough. Thank you so much, Kara. So definitely make sure you keep your eye on that chat. We'll let you know when that bit.ly link pops up, because you're going to want to click on it. It's got all the goodies, y'all. So as we said, the store is probably one of the redeeming aspects of the system that people really, really use and enjoy. And the great thing about the store is that you got two types you can utilize. You have that school-wide store, if that's what your school is utilizing, but you can also set up your own store called My Store. And that's where you can set up things that you particularly like for your students to be able to redeem their points for. And as we said earlier, they don't have to be all tangible things, you know, pencils and pens and erasers and whatnot. It can also be non-tangible things, experiences with you, you know, having lunch with you, discussing things with you, having a little game you can play together. So there definitely can be different items in your store, but they all do not have to be tangible little things for the kids to actually, you know, touch and feel. They can also be more experience-based. And events is something else that's just a wonderful redeeming piece, especially in the virtual learning environment. This is one to really think about. We had some people we were talking to the other day, actually from the Virgin Islands, and they were just saying that the store wasn't an easy option for them. So what they've decided to do is have a lot of different types of events that their students can use their points for to redeem. And there are 3 different types of events that you can set up, and you can do these events school-wide, or you can do them just yourself and have your own personal events for your students. But there are redeeming events. Those are the ones that cost points. So the students would pay to participate in that event. There are also qualifying events. Those are ones where if the student has earned a certain amount of points that you set up in a certain amount of time that you also set up and choose, they automatically are entered into that event. It does not cost them any points. They don't have to pay using their points to participate in that event. And then there are also awarding events. And we kind of talked about that earlier, that this is great too if you're trying to make sure your students are earning events. If they participate in this type of event, they actually are given points to participate. And so we just wanted to highlight a few of our favorites that we've heard over our training sessions. Some of them really lend themselves well to elementary age students, and some of them lend themselves well to secondary students. But we will say the number one, no matter what age, whether you're 6 or 66, is the pet parade. People love the pet parade. Who doesn't love puppies and kittens and iguanas, okay? The pet parade is what's up, no matter how old you are. And also the dance party, okay? The digital dance party is something that students of all ages and even the staff members really enjoy. So being class DJ is something to definitely consider when we go back to think about your store. Put class DJ in there. But having special time with a special adult in the school as well, just a virtual lunch or virtual snack together, as well as scavenger hunts. And of course, for those big kids, the TikTok dance party challenge. Those are definitely virtual events we've seen a lot of different schools have, and they've been very successful and a whole lot of fun. Yes, and so when we think about raffles, that's the third way that your students can really redeem their points. And there's two types of raffles to think about. There's those that are redeem, okay? So those, cost, they're going to pay for those. And then there are those that are qualifying. So if they have earned a certain amount of points that you choose in a certain time frame you choose, they qualify automatically for that raffle. And when we were talking with that same school in the Virgin Islands, this was another option that they chose because they're also in an all virtual learning situation right now. And what they decided, because they didn't have a whole lot of items, things, tangible things, but they had a few. They decided that raffles are great because all students can still, feel like they have a chance at getting that item, but then there's just one item that had to be purchased and just one item that had to be somehow brought to the student. So if you, are looking at stores just right now aren't feasible for you on a virtual learning setting, or you maybe don't have the budget to have a whole lot of items in a personal store or school-wide store, definitely think about utilizing raffles and events. Oh, hot chocolate day. What a great idea.
So fun.
Oh my gosh, the drive-through popsicle event. These are great, you guys. Feel free to keep putting more ideas into the chat, things that you've done already that really worked well in a virtual learning setting. Please just blow the chat up with those ideas. And Kara, if you see some really good ones, will you just hop in and let us know just in case we don't see them? Great. So I know there's been some people to ask, can we see what some of this looks like in the system? So we're keeping an eye on time because we want to be respectful of your time. But Anna, can we get in the system and see a few things?
Definitely. So we are going to go through those couple of things. I'm going to start with the store. And here at the store, like India said, you have the school store and my store. So they both function very similarly. I'm going to go to my store because for most people that are working virtually, that's really what you have the most control over. So in my store, I'm going to add an item to the store. So we know, especially students, they love all hot treats. You can see we even have a category with that, and you can see that's kind of how it's broken up into hot treats, that first one. But if I want to edit the store and I want to add an item, I'm going to come up here to this icon, looks like a pencil. And I can add a category. I could just add an item. So I'm going to add an item. And I am going to add lunch with a teacher. And we're going to put this in my virtual items because that's nice and easy. And I'm going to make that 25 points. And I'm going to have it visible in my list. So once I have that, I'm going to put in here, bring two friends and join your teacher for, oh, excuse me, for a virtual lunch. And we're going to click save. And those items can easily be added here. You can see there is my item, my lunch with the teacher. I can add a photo to that might make it easier. That would allow students, when they see it, the photo is going to be there. So if you allow students to purchase that, that will be visible to them. So adding items is really easy right here in the store. So they can be purchased here in the store. I'm going to go back to one thing here in my store. So if I have a student that wants to purchase that, it can be done by simply selecting an item and clicking this checkout button right here at the bottom right. So very easy. And again, you can go back to the groups page. That's always an option to do that as well. We're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about events. And I'm just going to create an event here. And I am going to create a my event because again, as a teacher, that's probably what I'm going to have more control over is my events. And you can see we've already had a pep parade. So my event I'm going to add this time is going to be a qualifying event. So that's going to be based on the points they have earned. And so we are going to base that also on the points for the year. And we're going to have a respect bingo. And they can play bingo with us.
I love that, Anna. Bingo's so fun in a virtual setting or even brick and mortar. That's a great idea.
And that, you know, who doesn't love bingo? It's so easy. And now there's even virtual bingo cards that kids can have. There's a website, myfreebingocards.com, if you want to use that. It makes it so easy. You don't even have to worry about, you know how we used to use beans and I cut up tiny pieces of paper before? Working virtually sometimes is a little bit easier. So I'm going to put 25. I'm not going to have a limit, and then I'll decide my date is today, and I'm just going to save that. So that event is going to be listed right here. There's my Respect Bingo. So that's a pretty easy one to do. And the last thing we're going to talk about is raffles. So for raffles, I am going to look at a raffle. I've already created one for us, and I called it a Respect raffle. So I'm going to go right here, and it's actually a school raffle. So you can see this screen, the way it looks, is going to look very similar to the others to create raffles. I'm going to be right here on these pencils for my school raffles, and here is for my raffles. Now, if you're a teacher and you may not have this school raffles, that's because you may not have administrator viewing ability and PBIS rewards. So don't worry. So I'm going to go over here to running my raffle, which is the Respect raffle. And we can see it was also a qualifying one for a $25 Amazon gift card. I have one winner. And the fantastic thing I love the most about PBIS Rewards and raffles, it has automatic entry. So I don't have to pass out all those little tickets to everybody. And I know you've done the same thing as me. You've had the one that you tear apart, write your name on this one, hold on to this one. Please don't lose it. If your mom knows that you lose that, then where are we going to be trying to find it again and all that stuff? It's such a nightmare. So it can automatically enter your students in it. And so great because you can run the raffle right here from the PBIS Rewards web portal. So I'm going to make sure this is clicked and checked. It says animated, and I'm going to click run raffle and click yes. And there's my winner right there in the raffle page. AJ is the winner, and we have the drum roll and the confetti for him. It's fun. You just show it right here from this page. So that makes it so easy. And again, you're right here in the meeting with your kiddos already. So that can be done. And if you know what, AJ's not here, you can rerun the raffle when he is here. So that's okay. Or you can get new winners. So all of those are options here in the raffle. So please keep those things in mind. We love them. And if you just want more information to dive a little bit deeper on each of those, please see our support page. It has great information about each of those, setting up raffles, the school events, all of those things. Those are there for you. Just didn't want to take you too deep today. We just wanted to show you a couple of things, but all of those work great virtually. I can also see it's automatic entry. Does enter all students in the school. Yes, that's how I selected it because I had those rights. Now, just as a teacher, I would only have those students that come to me. So it just depends on kind of what students you have access to and how you select that. So we're going to return back.
And Anna, there was a great question in the chat. Does automatic entry enter all students in the school?
Right, so it depends on who you kind of have access to. If you're running it for the school, you would have access to all those students if they are, qualifying for it with those points, like Kara said, as long as they have the points required. And there's, of course, there are raffles. They can use their points to enter, just like an old school raffle. It costs points every time to enter. So you can run a raffle that way as well. And Indy and I were just talking before, this is such a great way to get rid of all that junk that's in the office and in teacher closets and all that stuff, all those things that just sit around that kids love, and we don't know what to do with it because it's like one or two little things. Raffle it off, get rid of it. They love that kind of stuff. So, and if you don't use it at a raffle now, save it for an end of the year raffle, and your kids can use their points at the end of the year and finish out using all their points. It's a great incentive at the end to kind of empty out all those points. Okay. So that's just a reminder, we love raffles. So this is a short little video that shows how we ran a raffle. So this will be in the PowerPoint too, if you to watch that again of how to run it, but we had enough time to actually get that in today. So we know it is rough out there. We know. So, I just can't tell you how much appreciation we have for everyone that's an educator right now. Our heart really goes out to you. We have about 60 years experience between the three of us, and we are really trying to put everything out there we can to help you. So with all these challenges that are here, what we tried to do is we created a document with the most challenging virtual behaviors that educators face. So things like students not turning in their work, students not having attendant or not coming back to school after then those virtual sessions in the afternoon, or they're leaving in the middle of class, or they're just not responding, they're silent. What we did is we aligned that with ways to reward points with PBIS Rewards, and then how can you redeem those points? So there's a connection between that, and you're really incentivizing your students to improve those behaviors. So this PDF also have for you in the link today. And sometimes it's just a place to start with your staff members to say, are you frustrated by things virtually? Here's a couple of ideas, and those might be great idea sparks for your staff members. So we hope that that's helpful for you. So Indy and I really just want to give you a couple of our favorite tips as trainers with PBIS Rewards. And so India is going to get us started with her favorite, which is messaging.
Absolutely. You know, messaging and keeping your families of your students in the loop of PBIS is crucial, especially when you're in a virtual environment where they can't just pop up at school. You have to have a way of keeping them aware of what's going on with their child or children. And so the messaging feature with PBIS Rewards is just really a game changer when it comes to teaching in a virtual environment. You can message your families either through the web portal, and an easy way to do that is really from the groups page. Like we said, if you want to stay in the loop, stay in the groups, okay? But all you have to do is you could just click on one student and send a message to one student. You could actually send a message to the entire group, but you're gonna click that button that has the little envelope that says message in order to get some messages to your families of your students in that class. But you can also message in another way as well by going through the main menu, and you can do messaging there. But really the easiest way is to do it right there from the group that you're dealing with. You can also send messages from the app as well. And parents can actually message you back. So that's the wonderful thing about the messaging feature.
And it doesn't share any of your personal cell phone data. Everything happens through the app. So that's a great way to communicate with your families. Thanks, India. So another one that we just want to call your attention to is this news and notes. It always appears on the right side of PBIS Rewards. And, you know, we're kind of guilty as well of kind of not paying attention to that. But really, when you look over there, it has what our most up-to-date releases are. What are some things that are going on? Some great videos. There are really lots of great ways for you to utilize PBIS Rewards over there in the news and notes. And a recent feature, if you've noticed this come up at the bottom of your screen that says show me how, this is a new feature where we can walk you through how to utilize PBIS Rewards in that web portal. If you forget how to do something, how do I add a new group? Click on show me how. You can type it in, or show me how to run a raffle. Show me how to add a category in the store, or how to do an SEL check. And it will take you through each of those clicks. It is fantastic. That is a great resource right there in the PBIS Rewards web portal. All right, Andy, you want to talk to us about our favorite first steps?
Absolutely. You know, I keep bringing up this school that we were working with and talking to earlier this week in the Virgin Islands, because they are in this virtual learning environment situation. And I just have to say this because we have time. When they came in to talk with us, one of the ladies just, you know, she didn't even have her camera on, but I could feel her shaking her head, because the first thing she said as she came on is she said, I am so tired That's the first thing she said. Not, hello, how you doing? She said, I am so tired and I am so overwhelmed, is what she said. I'm overwhelmed. And so with that, we do not want PBIS Rewards to become one more thing to make you tired and one more thing to make you feel overwhelmed. It is a wonderful product. It is a wonderful system, and it has a whole lot of bells and whistles that makes life easier for you. But for some people, it may be so much that it can feel overwhelming. We do not want it to be that way for you. So what we suggest is to just take it one step at a time, maybe even one feature at a time. You know, there's some of us on our staff, I mean, you give them 75 things to do, they can do all of them at one time. But if you're like me, I kind of have to focus on things one piece at a time. So we want to give you some suggestions of how you can kind of focus in on using the PBIS reward system one piece or step at a time so you don't feel overwhelmed, and it actually is a tool that helps you and doesn't feel like something that's hindering you. So the first thing we would suggest is to just focus on rewarding your students using the web portal. Okay, just give them points, give them points. And you can go back to that slide or that list that we had for you that talked about all the different behaviors to look for in order to give them points in a virtual learning setting. So just do that for a while and get comfortable with that. Then what you might want to do for a second step is then download the staff app and use that to reward the students with that group print page, okay? So going in there, you know, the steps that Anna showed, the steps we talked about earlier of printing off the PDF for your group that has the QR codes, downloading the staff app and using that while you're teaching to give them points. And then maybe if you're feeling really comfortable and jazzy, go ahead and try using that random button in the groups, okay? So to just make some things fair and equitable when you're creating groups for the breakout rooms or whatever you might be doing. So now you've kind of done 3 features, you're getting really comfortable with them, and then you can add a third step. And we would suggest something like maybe just, you know, you set up your store and you sell 5 items in the store. Or maybe you set up one event and you then complete that event with your students. Just take it one step at a time. Don't feel like you have to use all the bells and whistles day one. Give yourself some time, feel comfortable with the system. And we also want to let you know if you're still overwhelmed to even figure out, okay, I know step 1, I'm rewarding, I need help figuring out how to redeem, please feel free to contact us. We would love to talk with you and help you. So we will put in the chat our email. Kara, myself, Anna, and our other teammate, Andy, we all get this info if you send it to training@pbisrewards.com. And we will definitely help you figure out what steps will be good for you and or good for your school or staff. So you will not be overwhelmed by the tool, but that you will be helped by the tool, and it'll make that struggle a little less hard.
So if you still need inspiration, you need more ideas, you can see Kara so excited. This is her favorite part. Kara, would you like to talk about this? Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's been so hard for me to stay quiet this whole time. Usually I'm talking, and so I've just been using lots of words in the chat, so I apologize. But one of my tips for you would be to, if you are on Instagram, you can follow a hashtag, and I would follow that hashtag PBIS. I am constantly seeing the great work that other schools are doing, and they're just sharing and then putting that hashtag in, and Instagram can read it. But these are some of the things that we found just this week. And I told the girls, I was like, can we please put this in here? Sometimes for me, I'm a visual learner, and if I can just see it, it helps my brain process it. So, you know, I thought about your popsicle and your hot chocolate. I totally lost my words. Your hot chocolate event. And it reminded me of this popcorn. And so, you know, I love that they said, like, this time of year when you're winding down in classes, you know, you're showing movies, maybe you're doing a popcorn day, you're doing some of those fun activities. And if you're virtual, you can't do that. And so it's hard to see on here, but the teacher just said, like, it's hard. School's been grueling. And so those teachers that are in session, they're having their popcorn parties. But she said, I just went out and got some cheap popcorn. She had it delivered or picked up. And then she just turned on a movie for all of her kids. And so they were having a popcorn day, but everybody was at home watching it, having a good time, just celebrating that, we made it to the very end, and we can take an hour or 30 minutes and watch something fun and eat some popcorn and celebrate that we made it. You can see on here too, there's PJ party in a bag, a sip and paint. So this one, again, it's a little hard to see, but they had to pay for an event and they're getting all the supplies and they're going to kind of paint together. So I don't know if where you live, but we have like painting with a twist and boards and brushes and different events like that. But they were doing that with their students. And so sometimes I think we're so worried about doing all the hard stuff, getting all of our standards met, making sure we're hitting the test, that sometimes we just need to take a step back and celebrate that we all made it. We all made it. This has been a terrible, crazy, horrible, chaotic year. And at this time of year, that's what our kids look forward to. And I think it's for teachers too, right? So don't forget your staff. If you're a leader, sometimes maybe you need to offer them a popcorn party or a painting party just to release some of that tension. So again, my tip for you is just to get on social media, especially Instagram. They do a great job of allowing you to follow that hashtag and see all the great ideas. So thank you.
Thanks, Kara. Awesome. So we just want to wrap up today and just kind of talk about next steps with everybody. We do have a PBIS user group, and you can give us a high five in your reactions, or look, Coach is holding up her high five. If you belong to our user group that's called PBIS Rewards Break Room, we would love for you to scan that QR code that's right there on the right side with your phone. You just have to open up the camera part of your phone and it'll scan that QR code. And we would love for you to join us there. We put out lots of ideas first to this group. We actually just put out one today. Kara was asking about the student SEL check-in. We're looking for feedback. We roll out freebie Fridays, different things with PBIS Rewards that we want people to know about. We also just sometimes do fun posts about different things. So we would love for you to keep the party going with us and stay connected with us through that Facebook group. So please feel free to join us there.
Don't forget to answer the questions so we can let you in.
Yes, thank you, Kara. So also, if you need help, we've got you covered with our support page. So the PBIS Rewards support page has a multitude of information there. You can do a quick search and look at a guide, kind of a printout, if you want to watch a video. But one of our favorite things is our Explorer series. And so you can kind of think about each one of these as planets. And if you select the planet, let's say on SEL Check, it'll give you a little video. It'll give you some basic information about SEL Check. And so that is a great place too for staff members, if they want to know a little bit of extra information, to go here to the Explorer page. But please don't forget, we're always here to help you. There's a chat feature there on the support page, and you could chat with our friend Jill. She is there to help every day, and our support team is phenomenal. They will return phone calls and talk with you over the phone. If you want to send an email, if you want to chat with them online, they're available. So please don't hesitate. We are here to help you with that and to make sure that you are successful with PBIS Rewards. And then finally, right here at the end, we would love for you to just give us a little bit of feedback today on this training and what you liked and how we can make it better. So if you scan this QR code with your phone, it's really short. I want to say it's maybe 7 or 8 questions, and we really appreciate the feedback and we really take that to heart. So we appreciate anything that you can tell us about the training today and any other ideas that you think that you may need training on. So we are definitely open to that. So I want to say thank you on behalf of the 3 of us. We have really enjoyed our time today, and we hope it wasn't too much for you, but enough to help you with that learning that students are doing virtually and to make your life a little bit easier with PBIS Rewards. Kara, I can see that you want to say something also as well.
I was going to say, did we share the bit.ly link?
That's what I was just going to do, the drum roll.
Oh, sorry.
And here is, you want this before you get out of here. Here is that bit.ly link. Please click on it right now. That one that says resource, and it has that bit.ly, bit.ly. That is the mother load. That is everything we've been talking about. It's today's PowerPoint. It's the virtual jobs slide. It's, oh, what's the other one I love so much, Anna? Oh, the behaviors.
Yes.
The
Matching
behaviors.
up. Mhm.
Oh, yes, all of that, all of that, all of that. Please click on that bit.ly right now. You're going to want all of that good stuff, okay? And guess what? We know some of you can't come to the other classes that we got going on, the trainings within this month. So we put every resource from every one of the classes during the Blitz this month on that bit.ly. So if you missed another class, the recording is going to be there. If you wanted to get some resources from another one, say the Train the Trainers, it's there too. So we wanted to make sure that you had a plethora of resources to help you and to help your staff be able to utilize PBIS Rewards to make things not harder, but easier in your struggles of teaching, especially in a virtual learning setting.
Thank you all so much, and we appreciate it. So we wrapped it up right at 5. So we hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, and thank you so much for joining us. If you're going to join us for any other ones, we'll see you later this month. If not, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for being here. Have a dynamic December and happy holidays.
Dynamic December. I'm going to start saying that. Good job, girls. That was so good.
Thank you. Oh, I need to stop recording. Whoop.